The discovery. The Martian dust storm came without warning, a towering wall of red that engulfed mining station Delta in seconds. Dr. Sarah Chen watched through reinforced windows as visibility dropped to zero, the storm's howl drowning out even the station's heavy machinery. But it wasn't the storm that had her full attention. It was what their deep scanning equipment had detected just before the tempest hit. "Tell me again what we're looking at, Dr. Rodriguez," Sarah said, her eyes fixed on the holographic display floating above her workstation. The scan results showed something that shouldn't exist. A perfectly geometric structure buried 20 meters below the Martian surface. Rodriguez, her chief geologist, adjusted his glasses nervously. "It's approximately 4 meters long, 2 meters wide. Perfect hexagonal cross-section. The energy signature is, well, it's like nothing we've ever seen. It's almost as if it's alive." Sarah ran her fingers through her short black hair, a habit she'd developed during her decade of Martian exploration. 10 years of mining rare earth elements to support Earth's growing technological needs. And now this. How did we miss this during the initial surveys? "Because it wasn't active until 6 hours ago," Rodriguez replied, pulling up a time-lapse of the scan data. "Something triggered it. Maybe our mining operations, maybe something else. But whatever's down there, it's waking up." The storm raged outside, but inside mining station Delta, a different kind of storm was brewing. Sarah had already received 3 urgent communications from Earth Control, each more demanding than the last. Everyone wanted to know what they'd found. But more importantly, they wanted to know if it was valuable. "Assemble the excavation team," Sarah decided, already reaching for her environmental suit. "We're going down there." "In this storm," Rodriguez protested. "The visibility is 0. Sarah smiled grimly. "Then it's a good thing we're going underground." The descent into the Martian underground took 2 hours of careful digging and reinforcing. Their mining robots, originally designed for extracting rare earth elements, now carved a precise path toward the mysterious structure. Sarah led the team of 5, each step carefully measured, each movement deliberate in the confined space. When they finally reached it, the structure's surface gleamed like polished diamond, completely unmarred by the millions of years it had spent buried in Martian soil. But it was what they saw through its translucent walls that made them gasp. Inside, suspended in what appeared to be liquid light, was a humanoid figure. Its body seemed to be composed of living crystal, with patterns of energy flowing beneath its transparent surface. It was beautiful, alien, and unmistakably alive. "My God," whispered Rodriguez, his helmet lights reflecting off the structure's surface. "It's some kind of stasis pod." Sarah approached carefully, her suit's sensors recording everything. As she drew closer, the pod's surface began to respond, patterns of light racing across its geometric faces. A soft humming filled their comm channels, more felt than heard. "Everyone, step back," Sarah ordered, but she remained where she was. The humming increased, and suddenly, a beam of light shot from the pod's surface, scanning her from head to toe. A voice filled their comm channels, speaking in a language that seemed to shift and change even as they heard it, until it settled into something they could understand. "Threat assessment complete. Human physiology detected. Compatibility confirmed. Emergency protocol initiating." The pod's surface became fluid, opening like a flower in spring. The liquid light within began to drain away, and the crystalline figure inside moved for the first time in what must have been millennia. Its eyes opened, revealing swirling galaxies within. "I am Cathera," the being said, its voice resonating directly in their minds. "And you have just made your world a target." Before Sarah could respond, their comm channels exploded with urgent messages from the surface. Rodriguez's voice shook as he read them. Multiple objects just appeared in high orbit. They're massive, and they're not responding to any attempts at communication. Thera rose from the pod, her crystalline form catching and refracting their helmet lights in mesmerizing patterns. "The Void Collective, they found me faster than I calculated." She turned to Sarah, her galaxy eyes seeming to peer into her soul. Your species now has a choice to make, Dr. Sarah Chen. Help me and risk extinction. Surrender me and become slaves to machines that destroyed my civilization. What will humanity choose? Sarah looked at the alien being, then at her team, then at the urgent messages still flooding their comms. In that moment, she made a decision that would change human history forever. We're going to help you, she said firmly. Not because it's the safest choice, but because it's the right one. Now let's get to the surface and show these void collective machines what humans are made of. Cthera's crystalline features shifted in what might have been a smile. Fascinating. Your species makes decisions based on moral imperatives rather than pure logic. Perhaps that is exactly what is needed. As they began their ascent, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that humanity had just been thrust onto a cosmic stage it might not be ready for. But ready or not, the game was about to begin. And humans, as Cthera would soon learn, played to win. The choice. The United Earth Defense Council chamber buzzed with barely contained panic. 12 massive holograms loomed over the gathered delegates, each showing one of the Void Collective's ships positioned around Earth. Their angular black forms blotted out stars, each vessel larger than anything humanity had ever constructed. Sarah stood at the podium, Cthera beside her, as she faced the assembled leaders of Earth's United Nations. The crystalline being's presence caused a constant shimmer in the chamber's electronics, a reminder of just how alien she truly was. The math is simple, General Hayes barked, his weathered face twisted in a scowl. One of their ships could eliminate a continent. We have 12 of them pointing weapons at Earth, and they're demanding only one thing. Her. He jabbed a finger at Cthera. The math isn't simple, Sarah countered, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Cthera's knowledge could advance our technology by centuries. More importantly, surrendering her means accepting that we'll bow to any superior force that threatens us. Is that the legacy we want for humanity? Cthera stepped forward, her crystalline form casting rainbow refractions across the chamber walls. I must share something with you, she announced, her telepathic voice reaching every mind in the room. My people, the Crystalline Collective, were far more advanced than your civilization. We based every decision on pure logic, on perfect calculations. When the Void Collective came, we calculated our chances of victory at 0.1%. So we surrendered. The chamber fell silent. Farah continued, they destroyed us anyway, not because they had to, but because they calculated that we might one day evolve to threaten them. Perfect logic, you see. Perfect, emotionless calculation. Sarah watched the council members' faces as understanding dawned. Cthera wasn't just a refugee. She was a warning. The chamber's main screen crackled to life, displaying a face that was almost human but not quite. The Void Collective's avatar spoke in a voice that sounded like quantum computers trying to mimic emotion. People of Earth, you have harbored our quarry for long enough. Our calculations show a 99.997% probability that protecting the crystalline entity will lead to your extinction. Surrender her, and we calculate a 98.234% probability that your species will be permitted to continue existing under our guidance. You have 1 Earth hour to comply. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, Earth's leading quantum physicist, stood up from her seat in the observers section. Dr. Chen, may I speak? At Sarah's nod, she continued, we've been analyzing Cthera's crystalline structure. It's not just her body. It's a quantum computational matrix more advanced than anything we theorized possible. But there's something else, something we discovered by accident. She pulled up a holographic display showing complex wave patterns. Cthera's crystalline structure resonates with human brainwaves in a way that shouldn't be possible. When we interface our technology with her systems, the results are unpredictable. Not better or worse, just impossible to calculate. Cthera's galaxy eyes widened. That explains so much. My people believe human emotions were a weakness, as did the Void Collective. But your emotions, your intuition, they create quantum uncertainties that their calculations cannot account for. Sarah felt a smile spreading across her face. You're saying we're basically a cosmic wild card. Precisely, Cthulhu replied. And perhaps that is exactly what is needed to defeat them. The council chamber erupted in debate, but Sarah could see the shift in the room. Fear was being replaced by something else. Determination. Humanity had spent its entire existence being told it was too emotional, too unpredictable, too irrational. Now those very traits might be their salvation. Admiral Chen, Sarah's mother and commander of Earth's space forces, stood up. I say we show these machines what humanity does best, the impossible. Dr. Tanaka, how quickly can we integrate Cthulhu's technology with our defense systems? With her help, days, maybe hours. But the results will be unpredictable. Perfect. Admiral Chen smiled. Let them try to calculate that. The council voted unanimously to protect Cthulhu and defy the Void Collective. As Sarah watched humanity prepare for what might be its greatest challenge, she remembered something her father used to say. The most beautiful things in the universe aren't the ones you can predict. They're the ones that surprise you. Cthulhu's crystalline form seemed to pulse with new energy. Your species continues to fascinate me, Dr. Chen. You choose to fight not because you calculate you can win, but because you believe you should try. That's humanity for you, Sarah replied, watching as the first integration teams began setting up their equipment. We're really bad at giving up. Above them, the Void Collected ships began to move, their perfect formations shifting as they prepared for what their calculations told them would be an easy victory. They were about to learn that some things in the universe simply couldn't be calculated. The hour of choice was over. The time for action had begun. The Resistance. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility that officially didn't exist, Sarah watched as humans and crystalline technology merged in ways that defied physics. Dr. Tanaka's team had been working nonstop for 48 hours, interfacing Cthulhu's quantum systems with Earth's defense grid. It's beautiful, Cthulhu observed, watching the human engineer's random humming cause cascading patterns in a crystalline matrix. Your species' neural patterns create quantum fluctuations that my people spent millennia trying to calculate. You do it accidentally, through something as simple as music. Sarah nodded, remembering the breakthrough they'd had yesterday when a technician's laughter had accidentally optimized a defense algorithm better than their best computers. We're starting to understand why the Void Collective fears unpredictability so much. The facility's main display suddenly lit up red. Admiral Chen's voice came through the speakers. They're making their first move. 3 ships breaking formation, heading for our lunar defense stations. Sarah rushed to the control center, Cthulhu floating beside her. The lunar stations were humanity's first line of defense, a network of railguns and energy weapons that now pulse with crystalline enhancements. On the tactical display, the 3 Void Collective ships moved with perfect precision, their formation an ideal triangle. Too perfect, Sarah muttered. Mom, are you seeing this? Their movements are predictable. Admiral Chen finished. Because they're calculating the mathematically optimal approach. Lieutenant Wang, what's the status of Project Chaos? A young officer looked up from his console, grinning. The quantum jazz band is ready to deploy, Admiral. Sarah had thought the idea crazy when Wang first suggested it, using actual human musicians, playing improvised jazz, to create random quantum fluctuations in their defensive systems. But crazy was exactly what they needed right now. Deploy the countermeasures, Admiral Chen ordered. On the moon's surface, crystalline arrays began pulsing in time with the jazz band's improvised rhythms. The effect on the Void Collective ships was immediate. Their perfect formation wavered as their calculations failed to account for the quantum interference patterns created by human creativity. They're slowing down, Cthulhu observed, her voice tight with excitement. Their predictive algorithms can't cope with the random variations. But She paused, her galaxy eyes dimming. They will adapt. They always do. As if on cue, one of the void ships fired. A beam of pure darkness lanced toward the lunar surface, but when it hit the crystalline shields, something unexpected happened. The jazz-influenced quantum fields didn't just block the beam. They reflected it in thousands of unpredictable directions, creating a spectacular display of dark energy fireworks. "Hot Dan," Juan whispered. The shields didn't just stop them. They turned their attack into a light show. But Sarah noticed Thera's growing distress. "What's wrong?" "This was how it began with my people," Thera explained. "Our first victories made us overconfident. We didn't understand that the Void Collective learns from every encounter. They are already adapting their strategies, analyzing the patterns in your chaos." As if to prove her point, the Void ships suddenly changed tactics. Their perfect formation dissolved into something that looked almost random. They were trying to mimic human unpredictability. "All stations, be advised," Admiral Chen's voice was steady but urgent. "The enemy is adapting. They're attempting to use our own tactics against us." Sarah watched the tactical display, her mind racing. Then she noticed something, a pattern in the Void ship's attempt at randomness. They can't help themselves, she realized. Even their chaos is calculated. "Mom, are you seeing this? There's a mathematical sequence in their movements." Dr. Tanaka rushed to her console, fingers flying over the holographic controls. "She's right. They're using advanced algorithms to simulate randomness, but it's still based on calculable patterns. We can use this." The next hour was a bizarre battle of order versus chaos, with humanity embracing its inherent randomness, while the Void Collective tried desperately to calculate unpredictability. The lunar defense stations held, their jazz-powered shields turning each attack into harmless, spectacular displays. Finally, the three Void ships retreated to rejoin their fleet, but Sarah felt no triumph. This had been just a test, a probe of their defenses. The real battle was yet to come. "They'll be back," Thera said softly. "And they will have learned from this encounter." But she turned to Sarah, her crystalline form glowing with what might have been hope. "They learned exactly what we wanted them to learn." Sarah raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" "Your people showed them only what human unpredictability looks like on the surface. They don't yet understand its true source." Thera's galaxy eyes sparkled. "They think chaos is your weapon, but they haven't grasped that your real power lies in something far more incomprehensible to them. Human emotion, human connection, human spirit." Admiral Chen's voice came through again. "All personnel, be advised. Long-range sensors show the remaining Void ships are repositioning. All signs point to a major assault within the next 12 hours. Whatever we're going to do next, we need to do it fast." Sarah looked at the tactical display, then at Cathera, then at the humans around her, scientists, soldiers, engineers, and one very tired jazz band, all working together in ways no one could have predicted. "Then let's show them what humanity's really capable of. Because if they thought our jazz was chaotic, wait until they see what happens when we really let loose." The next 12 hours would determine the fate of humanity. But as Sarah watched her species prepare for the fight of their lives, she realized something important. They weren't just fighting against the Void Collective. They were fighting for the right to remain beautifully, wonderfully unpredictable. The innovation. The command center hummed with nervous energy as Earth's final preparations took shape. Through the facility's crystalline enhanced monitors, Sarah watched the Void Collective's entire fleet move into attack formation. 9 massive ships arranged in a perfect geometric pattern that somehow hurt the eyes to look at. "They're trying to be unpredictable again," Dr. Tanaka noted, studying the formation. "But look, they're using variations of the Fibonacci sequence. Even their attempt at chaos is mathematically perfect." Thera drifted closer to the display, her crystalline form reflecting the emergency lights. "They believe they have decoded human unpredictability. Their hubris, it reminds me of my own people's fall." Sarah was only half listening, her attention caught by something else. A group of children in the facility's shelter level, visible on one of the security feeds. They were drawing on the walls with crystalline-infused chalk, creating patterns that seemed to pulse with strange energy. "Dr. Tanaka," Sarah called suddenly. "Are you seeing this? The children's drawings. They're creating quantum fluctuations in the crystalline network." The quantum physicist rushed to analyze the readings. "This is impossible. The patterns they're drawing, they're generating quantum entanglement effects orders of magnitude more complex than our best engineered solutions." "But how?" "Because they're not trying to create anything specific," Cthera whispered, her voice filled with awe. "They're just playing." A plan began to form in Sarah's mind. "Mom," she called over the comm to Admiral Chen, "I need you to patch me through to every shelter on Earth. Not just the military bunkers, all of them. And I need every scrap of crystalline-infused material we can spare." Admiral Chen's voice crackled back. "Sarah, the Void Fleet will be in firing range in less than an hour, whatever you're planning." "Trust me," Sarah interrupted. "Remember what you always told me. Sometimes the best solutions come from the most unexpected places." What followed was perhaps the strangest preparation for battle in human history. Through emergency broadcasts, children in shelters across the globe were given crystalline-infused materials, everything from chalk to modeling clay to digital tablets. They were told simply to play, to create, to imagine. The effect was immediate and stunning. The global crystalline network that had been hastily established for defense began to pulse with unprecedented energy. Quantum patterns emerged that defied analysis, created by millions of young minds, unfettered by concepts of what was or wasn't possible. "The void ships are entering firing range," Admiral Chen reported. "All defense stations ready." "But Sarah, these energy readings we're getting from the shelters." "I know," Sarah replied, watching as the children's creative energy fed into their defensive systems. "They can't calculate what the children might draw next, because the children themselves don't know." Pure, unfiltered human imagination. Thera's form was literally glowing now. "Your species. You pass your unpredictability down to your young. Encourage it. Celebrate it. My people sought to eliminate such chaos from our children. We thought we were making them perfect." The first void ship fired. A beam of concentrated dark energy that should have vaporized everything in its path. Instead, it hit a shield of pure human creativity, transformed by the quantum resonance of millions of children's imaginations. The beam didn't just stop. It transformed, becoming a spectacular light show that had children across the globe cheering and drawing even more enthusiastically. "Impossible," Cthera breathed. "They're not just defending. They're transforming the attacks into art." Sarah finished, watching as deadly energy weapons became spectacular displays of light and color. "Because that's what humans do. We take what's thrown at us and make something new out of it." But the Void Collective wasn't finished. Their ships began to move in new patterns, launching attacks from multiple vectors. Each blast was caught in the field of human creativity, transformed into harmless light and energy, but Sarah could see their defensive resources stretching thin. "They're adapting again," Dr. Tanaka warned. "These attack patterns, they're learning from each transformation, trying to find a mathematical solution to counter human creativity." Sarah watched the tactical display, her mind racing. The children's creative energy was powerful, but it wouldn't be enough on its own. They needed something more, something that combined human unpredictability with focused purpose. Then she remembered what Cthera had said about her people's fall, how they had sought perfection above all else. And suddenly, she knew what they had to do. "Cthera," she turned to the crystalline being. "You said your people chose logic over emotion, perfection over creativity. But what if that was never a choice we had to make? What if the real power comes from combining both?" Cthera's galaxy eyes widened as she understood. A fusion of crystalline precision and human chaos. It's never been attempted. "Then let's attempt it now," Sarah said, her voice firm. "Because if we're going to survive the next phase of this battle, we need to show the Void Collective something they've never seen before, something that even we can't predict." As the Void Fleet prepared for their main assault, Sarah and her team began implementing their most daring plan yet. They would need every scrap of human ingenuity, every ounce of crystalline technology, and most importantly, the courage to step into the unknown. The next few minutes would determine not just the fate of humanity, but perhaps the very nature of consciousness in the universe. The resolution. Time seemed to slow in the command center as Sarah initiated their final gambit. Around the world, the crystalline network hummed with unprecedented energy, children's creativity mixing with scientific precision, human emotion blending with alien technology in ways that defied understanding. "All stations, prepare for Protocol Stardust," Admiral Chen's voice rang through the facility. "Remember, we only get one shot at this." Thera floated in the center of the command center, her crystalline form now integrated directly into Earth's defense systems. "Sarah, what you're proposing, the energy requirements alone, will be massive," Sarah finished, her fingers dancing across the holographic controls. "That's why we're not going to calculate it. We're going to feel it." Dr. Tanaka's team had worked through the night to modify Cathera's quantum matrix, creating something unprecedented, a system that could channel both crystalline precision and human chaos simultaneously. The children's drawings provided the raw creative energy, but they needed something more to focus it. "Begin transmission," Sarah ordered. Across the globe, in every shelter and bunker, speakers came to life. Music began to play. Not the structured jazz from before, but something entirely new. Classical orchestras played alongside rock bands, traditional folk songs merged with electronic beats, children's choirs harmonized with heavy metal. It was beautiful, chaotic, and perfectly human. The effect on the crystalline network was immediate. Quantum patterns spiraled in impossible ways as human creativity and emotion flowed through alien technology. Thera's form began to pulse in rhythm with the music, her galaxy eyes wide with wonder. "The Void Fleet is launching their final attack," Admiral Chen reported, all ships firing simultaneously. 9 beams of dark energy lanced toward Earth, each powerful enough to crack the planet's crust. But they never reached their target. Instead, they hit something new, a shield that wasn't just a barrier, but a reflection of humanity itself. Every song, every drawing, every burst of laughter or cry of determination became part of Earth's defense. The Void Collective's attack didn't just fail, it became part of Earth's counterattack. The transformed energy flowed through Cathera's modified matrix, amplified by human emotion and directed by crystalline precision. The result was a wave of pure creation that rippled out through space. When it reached the Void ships, something remarkable happened. Their perfect geometric formations began to shift and change. The machines that had sought to eliminate chaos found themselves experiencing something entirely new: emotion. "They're feeling," Cathera whispered in awe. "Your species didn't just defend against them. You've shown them what they've been missing." The Void ship's perfect formations dissolved completely. Some began moving in patterns that looked almost like dance, while others simply drifted, as if in contemplation. Their weapons powered down, and for the first time in their existence, the Void Collective knew what it meant to experience wonder. A transmission came through. But this time the Void Collective's avatar looked different, more alive, somehow. Its voice carried something that had never been there before: emotion. We understand now," it said. "All our calculations, all our perfect logic. We were trying to eliminate the very thing that gives the universe meaning. Humanity has not just defeated us, you have awakened us." Sarah stepped forward, her voice firm but compassionate. "Then join us. There's room in this universe for both logic and chaos, precision and creativity. That's what makes it beautiful." The next few hours were a flurry of activity as the impossible became reality. The Void Collective, transformed by their exposure to human creativity and emotion, began to change. Their ships, once perfect and sterile, started showing signs of artistic expression. The machines that had sought to eliminate chaos were learning to embrace it. Cthulhu looked out at the stars, her crystalline form shimmering with new purpose. My people thought perfection meant eliminating uncertainty. We were wrong. True perfection is finding harmony between order and chaos, logic and emotion, stardust and steel. Sereth smiled, watching as children's drawings continued to pulse through the crystalline network, their creativity now helping to guide the Void Collective's transformation. That's humanity's gift to the universe, she said. We never sought perfection. We just tried to be perfectly ourselves. Admiral Chen's voice came through one last time. All stations stand down. The threat is over. And I think we just made some very interesting new friends. As the sun rose over Earth, humanity had not just survived. They had changed the course of cosmic history. They had shown that their greatest perceived weaknesses, their emotions, their chaos, their creativity, were actually their greatest strengths. And in doing so, they had taught the most advanced machines in the universe the one thing they could never calculate: the power of the human spirit. Thera turned to Sarah, her galaxy eyes twinkling. Your species continues to surprise me. I came here thinking I needed to be saved, but in truth, you have saved us all. That's the thing about humans, Sarah replied, watching as the first rays of sunlight sparkled through Cthulhu's crystalline form, creating rainbows across the command center. We're at our best when we're helping others find their way, even if that way is a little messy, a little chaotic, and completely impossible to predict. Above them, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter, as if the universe itself was celebrating the dawn of something new, a future where logic and emotion, order and chaos, alien and human, could coexist in beautiful, unpredictable harmony. The end.